Welcome, ladies and gents, to the Hcast episode number 51. We are just steamrolling ahead with this epic podcast show. Your favorite podcast. Yeah, I said it. I said it, ladies and gents. We've got a doozy of a stream for you today. You've seen the title, the headline, Star Wars: The Acolyte. Oh, boy, howdy, it has an insane budget. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into Lizzo, you know, the Emperor of Cottage Cheese, being sued for multiple absolute insane things. I know, ladies and gents. I know. We're branching off from what we do on the main channel. We do that here. We talk about many bits and pieces. We'll also be talking about the IMAX CEO discussing the Marvels versus Dune. We're going to be looking at Tatiana Maslany being an absolutely massive raging hypocrite She-Hulk herself. We've got loads of stuff. It's boy howdy, it's a good stream. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. And joining me today, we've got Tom Connors of Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark. How are you doing, good sir?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, where you is. Welcome to the program. We're glad to have you, and I'm glad to be here.
You got that echo sorted out, I hear now, from this new mic.
I'm glad.
Good. We got Culture Casino of Culture Casino. How you doing, bud?
Hey. I'm fantastic. We are all wearing various shades of blue today, and it looks
Mine's grey. How dare you?
It's blue.
Anyway, yeah, how you doing? You all right?
I'm fantastic. I'm colorblind, but I'm great. Thanks. I appreciate it.
You are. Or maybe I am. I'm just living a lie. Oh dear. Guys,
I'm definitely wearing blue. So
you are definitely wearing blue. Yes. Guys, ladies and gents, in the chat, everyone's channels will be linked in the description box. Please do check them out as we go through this stream. And as I always do, I've got to do a bit of a preamble, let you know the ground rules. There's not many, and realistically, it's just a bit of a PR. I need to promote some bits and pieces. So this stream, although monetized, gets demonetized. They're pretty much universally demonetized. They get demonetized whilst I'm even on the stream with you guys. As this is your favorite podcast, if you want to join in the conversation, you do the super chat. It's a way to support the show. It's literally funded by you guys, for you guys. It helps keep the lights on here. And it goes a really long way to helping out the channels. So if you've got anything to say, you want to ask us any question, it can be about what we're talking about. It can be literally anything. You could be asking us a question, personally, whatever, anything. Just to help keep the lights on, get your question answered. Super chats are the way to do that. And there's super stickers. More often than not, ladies and gents, these comments, these questions get turned into their own video on the second channel, which is linked down below in the description box. That's Mr. H Reviews live archive. So you can check that out down there. And you can find the many videos that have spawned from all of your incredible comments and questions. Also, this is all my big preamble here. Again, because we do get demonetized, I've got to talk about memberships. So please do become a member of the channel, become a Patreon. You can find it all linked down below. Basically, YouTube screws this show quite heavily because of the subject matter. So support it. That's essentially the take home from this. Now, Nick will be joining us from Echo Base Network, and Nick Talks Entertainment as well. So he will be joining us. So you can find his links down below. But guys, first topic of the day. You have both seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You had to remind me.
And I want both of your reviews.
Oh boy.
Go first, Culture.
Well, none of the characters. Okay, so if you're into classic Turtles, if you like the originals, if you love the cartoons, back in the day when I was young or younger, these characters are nothing like those. So don't even pretend to hope. They're not even close. Don't get your hopes up. Don't have an expectation of something that is familiar to you, because you will be sad. The appearance of these characters was similar maybe to what you remember, but at the same time, because of the terrible animation quality and the style that it was done in, also don't expect anything beautiful, because there certainly isn't any of that. The music was about 50-50. I would have expected a home run in that department. There were a lot of things that were married to different action scenes that totally didn't belong. And if you think that you should take kids to see this film, you can be more wrong. The film itself is thankfully very short, only 99 minutes, and you can leave before the credits start to roll and probably not miss anything. In fact, technically, if you didn't show up, you wouldn't miss much. And if you want to wait for something to see on streaming, I might skip it on streaming too. Overall,
wow.
it wasn't the most offensive thing that I have seen. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't the best, but it certainly wasn't worth seeing. And even with that, I still give it a higher rating than Tom. Well, I think probably that bothered me the most wasn't the fact that you had a race swapped April O'Neil, which I could care less about. It was the fact that every single character was completely mistreated from their original creation. And aside from that, I think you'll have a more enlightening review from our good friend Tom Connors, who basically is a mutant Ninja Turtle.
God, Tom, suck it up. I mean, what?
Where do I start with this? Okay. I guess I can start by saying that this makes the Bayformer movies look a little better, maybe, in comparison, but not much. The Ninja Turtles are the Ninja Turtles in name only and somewhat appearance. Outside of that, like Culture was saying, their characterizations are pretty much non-existent. They are the most incompetent Ninja Turtles I've ever seen in my life. They accidentally kick ass usually. They never show any real sign of true control over their ninja skills or anything like that. Splinter learned from a videotape. He's no longer Hamato Yoshi. Like, all the backstory has been completely erased. The
He learned
Turtles
it from a
main
video game.
or a movie, sorry, not a video game.
Wow.
But yeah, like the Turtles, they barely have personalities. All the mutants have been either gender swapped or changed as far as what their origins were. The story is pretty much the same story as the 2007 movie, only just instead of some ancient god, it's Baxter Stockman who made all these mutants, and they're planning on turning everybody into mutants, pretty much like the other Ninja Turtle movies, and because they want to get the turtles' blood for it. No, it's crazy. It is such a sad, annoying movie. Like, it is nonstop barraging you with constant, just like bah! Is what it felt like. It felt like it was written by a 12-year-old on ADHD.
I mean,
Seth
it
let
basically was, wasn't it? Seth
Yeah,
Rogen.
kind of. I mean, Seth let all the teenagers who are doing the voices improvise and do their parts together. So they're literally just talking over each other through the whole movie. Like, at no point do they really have any real character moments. The closest you get to a character moment is when Splinter is trying to connect with the boys, and they treat him like shit. Uh, um, and he is really a joke compared to what he should be. There's no connection with Shredder. Shredder's not even mentioned in this movie. I mean, I guess you can stay tuned for an end credit scene that sets up the TV show and the sequel that nobody's going to really care about, I'm sure. But on top of it all, the animation is just harsh to watch.
Is
And I
it quite
basically,
jarring?
yeah, and I basically summed it up as this movie is what our parents thought the Ninja Turtles were when they first heard about them. When they hear the name Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what is that?
Right.
You know,
They've
like, that's
delineated it to its simplistic form, basically.
exactly, and that's kind of what this is in its best, or at its best, I guess, is what I can say. I know there's going to be some turtle fans who are just going to have cognitive dissonance with it, just like they did the Bay films, and just be like, whatever, I don't care as long as we're getting Ninja Turtles. But ever since Nickelodeon has
Yeah.
bought them, they've been diminishing returns. They've been doing nothing but destroy the franchise. And as much as I love Eastman and Laird, Eastman, after he blew all his money, has been fortunate enough to work with the franchise ever since Nickelodeon has bought it. But he was the one who's always into more of the fantasy weird shit, as opposed to
Mm.
Laird, who is always more into the more grounded stuff. And Laird is kind of off doing his own thing. So Eastman is the only one who's really kind of overseeing any of this stuff, if he does have any say over anything.
Yeah.
And it's poor. It's another sad excuse to refurbish the franchise, because and this is what I was told, since Rise of TMNT failed, they had to fulfill licenses. So that's the only reason they announced all this crap. It's not because they're trying to generate interest for this movie. It's already done deal. They have to do it so they can fulfill licenses for, like, I'm sure Playmates and all these other companies that have had Ninja Turtle licenses for the last 40 years. So yeah.
Wow. So you wouldn't recommend it then?
No, and at first I said at least if anything, maybe 5, 6-year-olds would find it not as, or at least somewhat entertaining. But Culture's right. The more I think about it, the more I learn about things in the film. It's less and less for kids. I agree. Especially
Right.
now that we kind of cracked the code that they made Splinter gay on top of it all. Not to get into spoilers, but there's a character that he literally makes out with and gets with in the movie that Paramount themselves is claiming is a guy. Even though in the movie they kind of allude to it being a gender swapped character, but it's kind of ambiguous in that sense. But they must have just tried to edit around it, I guess, as best they could. I don't know.
Good
I don't know.
times, man.
It is not very good though. I cannot recommend. And in fact, I said the worst thing this movie ever did was we have a Paul Rudd role that was not funny at all. In fact, it was one of the worst roles in the whole movie. I don't know if you agree,
Really?
Culture, but yeah, he plays Mondo Gecko, and his whole thing is just
Oh,
brah, brah, brah.
yeah,
Bruh.
I did not
Bruh.
like
That is a waste.
it was
I
a
know.
constant. It was the lowest common denominator of comedy with that bit because it's called doubling down on your joke, and they did that way too often. It was far too repetitive, and
Every
that
joke was, yeah.
yeah. Well, gosh. That's the thing I didn't mention.
We didn't even
If
get into April or anything else. Yeah.
No. Yeah, if you didn't actually know the origin story of the turtles, you're going to get to hear it 3 times in the film.
But it's not even the real origin story. It's just the compromised version. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So,
reiterate it 3
Why
times.
3
Yeah.
times?
Because first of all, Splinter tells the story as a punishment, which makes
Yeah.
no sense. It's like, why are you wasting time telling the turtles their own story?
well, because
Which
they
makes no sense.
exposition for the audience, you know that.
But they could have just saved it for later when they're talking, because they do reiterate it again for April.
Yeah.
And then we also get another version of it from the other side, from the Superfly's point of view.
That's so bizarre. What a
It
waste
is.
of
But
time.
what it allowed them to do is not be creative at all. So they got to spend a good part of 25 minutes telling you the story 3 times.
No,
Because
really,
literally
there's
just
like
filler.
what, 10, 15 minutes worth of story in this movie, and
Well,
it's
that's also
filled out
true.
to 99 minutes or whatever it is. Yeah.
That's
Wow.
also true.
It's
So I
really
guess-
a basic story. I mean, the turtles have a
Yeah.
pretty set line, like, and it just, things happen to kind of just slow the story down throughout, really. Like, it's like a 20-minute episode story at best.
Jesus. So you won't be watching the sequel then, I guess, Tom?
No,
What's your
just like the
score out
rise of
10?
TMNT. What's my personal score? I'd give it like a 3 out of 10. I actually said Barbie was a better movie.
Culture, what's your score out of
Yeah.
10?
What did you say, Tom?
You heard me.
I think mine went down. It did. I think it's sitting at about.
You
a
started
4.
at 5, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think
Wow.
it's sitting at a 4 out of 10 right now.
and I think he was
Wow.
just giving it credit for being like projected in
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah, well, dude, I had free air conditioning. It was comfortable. I was in my favorite theater, so I had these big cushy recliner chairs.
Like, I
You
got to
can't-
keep
you
reminding
can't
him,
give it a good review
quit
'cause
giving
you're
the
in the
theater
cinema.
ratings. Rate the
Oh.
movie, dude.
Yeah, what are you doing? I don't rate the popcorn when I'm eating the bloody, when I'm watching a movie.
I
I'm
actually
rating
do rate the
movie.
popcorn, but I don't rate
Oh,
it with
for
the film.
fuck's sake. Right. Whatever. So, yeah, okay. So terrible movie, basically, all round. Not
it's
worth
just
watching.
it's not worth the 11, 15, 20 bucks, whatever it costs for you to go. I mean,
Yeah.
and if I didn't have the opportunity to see this film super crazy early at a great location, I wouldn't have did. I wouldn't have did it. I wouldn't have did it.
I wouldn't have did it.
I wouldn't have did it. I wouldn't have
What are
done
the
it.
Culture.
projections for this movie,
Please.
Culture? I haven't even seen it.
$6.
$6.
No, it's not good. Gosh, I think they updated them. Let me double check. Let me grab it.
Well, doesn't look like you guys should go and watch that movie by the looks of it. Good to get a review from you guys for that. We do have some bits I want to get to as you get to that projection. So Adam has become a new member. So thank you so much, my dude. Really do appreciate that. Goes a long way. Really does help out. So
really
thank you. Accident Seller for 100 Norwegian kroner says, I'm done with YouTube. Saw a video where they reported that young men are likely to vote Republican in 24. They left out the reason for that, which is misandry in media. My comments about it got shadow banned.
Oh, no.
interesting. I mean, it's interesting that they shadow banned you, but I wonder what words were flagged up. But yeah, I mean, misandry in media is pretty rife now. I mean, it's just everywhere.
They're
Absolutely everywhere.
They're flagging new words, kids. I'm not kidding. I've been called paranoid. But
well, that's why I say these streams keep getting bloody demonetized, because they do. They're flagging something from them.
Yeah.
Horseradish Power for £5 says, watch Joyride, surprisingly good. Think American Pie, lacks the message as cringe humor, but also a big tender side. Made me laugh and cry. Can't tell if you're trolling.
I think he's trolling.
I will have to
see you trolling.
Check it out, I guess. Hopefully you're not trolling. D sent 10 Australian dollars as a super sticker. Thank you so much, my man. Al Humphrey sent £5 as a super sticker. Just as a quick one, Al Humphreys also sent an incredible card for Sir Jasper's 5th birthday, which is next week. So thank you so much. And also the 2 treats that came through. Thank you so much, my dude. Meant to email you, but I sliced open my thumb, so I didn't have a chance.
You did, actually.
Yeah, he was trying to cut his thumb off today.
I did, yeah. I tried to kill myself. Demonetized, suicide. John Apocalypse for £2 says, I've watched kids watch 03, 12 series, and 90 and 07 films. What? Have kids watch
the Teenage Mutant Ninja. Yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja
series and 90 and 07 films. All right. Yeah. Horseradish Power for £5 says, would starting at 90 minutes film of a bottle of turtle wax be a better turtle experience? So sorry for the TMNT fans. They were screwed hard, it seems.
Yeah. Well, again,
staring at a 90-minute film of a bottle of turtle wax.
I've been blasting Seth Rogen online for the last month, and I really went at him today.
I think turtle wax is a fine product. Speaking of fine product, apparently the 3-day opening projection for Teenage
Jesus
was 36 million.
That is higher than Blue Beetle.
Yeah, it's also higher than the Haunted Mansion. It just
wow.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion took 33
people
million.
Demand better, please. Yeah. Stop taking your kids to this crap.
They actually think look at the long range. They actually think it could go between 101 and 145 domestic.
Wow. Well, here's the thing why I think there's a possibility for this, because when I went to see this, and I know Culture saw something similar, I think 6 did too when she saw it.
Many kids.
It was pretty much packed with kids. I mean, like what you saw with Barbie with the moms and the daughters, you saw with the dads with, and then the grandpas with the kids.
Right.
On the boys' side with the turtles. There's tons of guys and kids there with their Ninja Turtle shirts and everything on. So,
and
I think that they're thinking this is going to be along the Spider-Verse lines with the type of style and animation.
The animation's terrible. Like you said, I mean, it is just it makes Across the Spider-Verse look like something you can watch and be okay with. This is so bad. It's just I hate it. I just ugh.
Well, guys, we've got 511 people here, and we've only got 167 thumbs up. So, guys, if you can, would appreciate it if you could just hit that thumbs up button. The reason why I'm asking, it's not to help the stream out specifically, because these streams get unlisted. It's to help you get notified that the stream is going live. We get really good viewership now. I'm really, really proud of this. This has started to become exactly what I wanted it to be. Your favorite podcast, basically. But please do hit that thumbs up button, because the interaction with the stream, as far as I can tell, at a guess, it helps the algorithm notify you in future. So again, it's not for this stream specifically. It's for you to get notified of this show going live in future. So please do hit that thumbs up button. Let's try and get it as close to that 500 magic number as we can, guys. That would be really, really good. We do have some more super chats just here. So I just want to get through these before we move on to one of our main topics. Again, you want to support the show. This show gets demonetized. So, it is literally funded by you guys, for you guys. So send in a super chat and we'll get to your question. Mika Fresh for $4.99 says, shout out Need for Speed. A legitimately good, albeit loosely tied, video game adaptation. Very entertaining all throughout. I cannot remember seeing that. Wasn't that the one with Aaron Paul in it? Because he did one of those. I swear he did one of those adaptations. The Breaking Bad guy. He did a car adaptation movie once. Maybe I swear he did. I don't know if he did Need for Speed, but he did do one of them.
I think it was Need for Speed, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Was it? Was I right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, movie trivia.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I didn't see it, so I don't know.
Michael Keaton was in it too.
What?
Batman was in it?
It says.
Yeah, got the Batmobile. Need for Speed with the Batmobile. Oh dear,
Well,
dear.
at least we
Apparently
get to see the
Horseradish
Batmobile
Power-
do something.
That's true.
True.
I like
Apparently,
that
Horseradish Power was not joking about Joyride.
Which is funny because that's produced by Seth Rogen.
Oh my god. Monk Vodka for £5 says, "Hi gents, how probable is it that Witcher season 4 will be cancelled?
It won't be because they
no Cavill, very bad reception, and online criticism. What's your take?" So I think first and foremost, it's important to note that one of the showrunners did come out recently, actually, and confirm Geralt will no longer be the main star of the show.
Yeah, but didn't they already shoot season 4 and 5?
No, but that's what I mean. So it's called The Witcher. The Witcher is no longer the main character in The Witcher.
Yeah, of course. But I thought that was kind of the whole thing is they shot season 4 and 5 together for Netflix with Hemsworth.
They were shooting them
I think they're done.
But are they finished now?
I am not 100%, but
I had heard that was all being done at once.
Yeah, so that's why I think.
But I don't know if it's finished. Let
me see.
Maybe it has. But so in terms of it being cancelled, it definitely won't be cancelled because they've shot them back to back. So season 3's come out, season 4 and 5. So it will come out.
It has not begun shooting.
Oh, is it not?
It has not.
Yeah, not until September, I guess it was meant to.
Well, it's not going to shoot in September now, is it?
No.
This might get force majeure.
It could, and actually, that probably would be the best way out for Netflix. They actually force majeure starts today, so we're gonna start seeing that happen.
And considering they're like a month and a half out from when they're supposed to start shooting, but then again, Netflix is I don't understand how all this works, but certain companies like Netflix and other ones have like deals that are already set with the actors to where they're able to get work done without having to deal with the guild stuff. So I don't know if this is one of those shows that falls under that or not.
It depends. Is it independent and privately funded?
I have no idea, but I know there's certain shows that even with like actors guild members and stuff that are involved that they're getting a pass.
Yeah, there was
Then there's this other pass deal going on too that I don't completely understand. But
yeah, I don't like any of the passes because I think it takes away from the weight of the strike to begin with.
Kind of makes it pointless, don't it?
It does. Yeah. I look, I'm not a fan of a lot.
I don't understand it as well as others do, so I'm not gonna.
No, but if it's privately financed and an independent, you have a chance to you have an easy chance to get a waiver.
Well, I thought HBO Max and Netflix had a bunch of like
they may actually have guild proof deals with
or like guild deals or whatever set in place. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, is it going to get cancelled?
I'm gonna guess
maybe now. I don't know.
I changed my answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna fall on the side of it's easy to cancel right now. Bye.
Well, that's
especially now that they're reporting that the last episode of third season had the lowest ratings ever. Now's basically the time. You're not wrong. Yeah.
Well, so COVID presented a great opportunity for multiple studios and production houses to can a bunch of products without notifying anyone publicly.
Yeah,
I think this writer's strike and the actor's strike will be exactly the same situation. So there'll be a lot of stuff that was announced that just falls by the wayside, and they just choose not to address it. So yeah, I think that there's
This
the
one might be a
potential
bit
for
too
that.
high profile for that, but yeah,
I don't think
you're
so.
right.
I think it's
Well, just the fact that they announced Hemsworth and stuff, I think that somebody will end up asking him eventually.
okay, but
Yeah.
we're watching. Okay, so we're watching the ability of them to cancel not only that, but first look deals. So like this is a great way to get rid of J.J. Abrams. This is
Yeah.
a great
From
way
the
to get
few
rid
that
of
already haven't.
Klutzman. I mean, there's a list of people you could ditch right now. If you're one of these big streamers and you signed a bad deal and you've got buyer's remorse, this is a great
Unfortunately,
way
with
bad deal.
Kurtzman, they don't see him the way we do. That's the thing. Like they've come
That-
around
that-
to JJ, but
Yeah. Well, this will be interesting. So yeah, I would say that there's the potential. Absolutely, Monk Vodka. John Platt for £2 says, "What are your thoughts on Guy Ritchie's Sherlock?" Oh, that's the one
I liked
with
it. I like two of them.
Robert Downey Jr., isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought they're fine.
Yeah, and it has the.
I've never watched them again, but I didn't find
Oh,
them
I have.
offensive.
Yeah, it has Jude Law in it because remember when Jude Law was in everything?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were fine at the time, but I've never revisited them, so I don't know what that doesn't really say much. But I thought they were fine, non-offensive. They're just films to me. They weren't exceptional rewatch value. I thought they were fine. But you say otherwise? You think they're pretty good?
I like them. I enjoyed it. I have gone back and watched the first one. I like
really care
I like
for him. But
I like the interplay. I really appreciated the dialogue. I liked that they tried to stick with the characterizations put forth, in the literature. To me, that's if you want to make a good Sherlock thing, try to make the characters like the books, and then I'm good to go.
Well, those books were revered for a reason.
Yeah. Well, I still read them. I mean,
well, what Culture was
Yeah.
talking about with Jude Law was referred to the longest time as the Jude Law.
Yeah.
You had to have him in every
You had to have
movie.
Jude Law in every movie.
The Jude Law, I love it.
It was.
Brilliant. We've got our last super chat before we move on to our first topic. Again, guys, please do hit that thumbs up button. We haven't even got 300 thumbs up, so please do hit that like button. It's not for me. The show gets unlisted anyway, which you can actually find, by the way, on the second channel. So all full episodes are on the second channel, linked down below in the description box. Mistakes, reviews, live archives. Hit subscribe down there. But yeah, so last super chat before we shuffle on to our next topic. You want to support the show? Super chat's the way to do it. Graham Cast for $4.99 says, "Would love to collaborate with y'all. Any suggestions on how to get in touch?" What are you doing, Culture? Do you know this person?
No, I love the what do you call it? The icon, the avatar thing. It's freaking cool. Yeah,
That is cool. That is cool.
Sorry.
So I actually get. So I think it's well. I'll address this real quick. So because I get this quite a lot. I will get emails. I will get DMs and stuff about collaboration and it's as you can probably tell from looking at people's channels. I'm not one of these people that is looking. It's not a hierarchy system. It's not a popularity contest here. I don't have people on that. You don't have to be a certain threshold to be on this show, etc. Right? That was never the point to this show for you guys. Was chemistry, different points of view, and sort of converging viewpoints to essentially create a pretty well-rounded show where we can all talk about various bits and pieces. I've got people that like Culture, for instance, absolutely will unequivocally go view stuff in the theaters. So I've got an American that's watching stuff pretty regularly. It sort of overlaps when I watch stuff, but then also when I can't watch stuff. So the point to all of this and how I sort of got this show formed was chemistry, basically. So in terms of collaboration, we don't really tend to have further collaborators. We have drop-in guests here and there, which I'm happy to have. So essentially what I would say is send me an email. I'll try and have a conversation with you and we'll sort of go from there. But there's no guarantees, basically, because it's all
why
about
did you
chemistry.
tell me there was a weight limit?
You need to lose weight,
because I didn't want you to go down the microphone all day long. Sorry, bud.
We just want you to be healthy, Tom.
Did you not feel healthy?
No, I need to lose weight.
Oh dear, oh dear. Right, guys, let's move on to our
We just
first.
him. Oh, we just Lizzo'd the guy.
Fucking Lizzo. We're not-
It's okay. Speaking of, that's a perfect segue, I think, maybe.
Oh,
Well, it is, yeah. All right, let's get to that as our first topic. So, our first topic, ladies and gents, is Lizzo. We were going to get to something else, but this is our first topic. Why not? Let's segue. Lizzo is being
Ah,
sued.
You got to warn a brother.
I know. I'm sorry. I know. She's being sued for alleged sexual harassment, weight shaming. Can you believe it? And creating a hostile work environment. Not only
Now,
that,
this is not a
false
Babylon
imprisonment.
B article, right,
this is
Nate?
real.
This is
This is not a
variety.
Babylon B. Okay, I just wanted to
This is
check.
variety, yeah.
It's
Weight
on all the
shaming.
trades. This is everywhere right now.
Yeah, this is
This
front
is
page news right now. Yeah.
This is genuinely insane. I didn't even know this was happening until you raised this, Tom. But basically, look, a bit of background, guys, in the chat who have no idea what's going on because I didn't. Lizzo and her production company are being accused of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment by a trio of the team's former dancers, according to a legal complaint filed today, Tuesday. The lawsuit, independently viewed by Variety, so again, not small time, big time, was filed in LA County Superior Court against Lizzo, real name Melissa Vivian Jefferson, and her production company, Big Girl, Big Tourin, Inc., BGBT, and Shirlene Quigley, captain of Lizzo's dance team. Dancers, plaintiffs, Ariana Davis, Cristal Williams, and Noel Rodriguez have alleged sexual, religious, and racial harassment, disability discrimination, assault, and false imprisonment, among a slew of other charges. I mean, this is the tolerant left, ladies and gents. The tolerant left.
Well,
One of
I
the
mean, look, artists get a lot of salacious claims thrown at them all the time.
This
I know,
is
but
This comes from the captain of their dance team, and if you
oh,
have children present, you might want them to leave the room for this next part. I just wanted to warn you.
Yeah, just as an FYI, guys. We're getting demonetized. So if you're enjoying this, bringing this breaking news about the Empress of Cottage Cheese, then super chat, okay? One of the most striking details of the suit alleges that the dancers were pressured due to fear of losing their jobs to touch nude dancers during a live sex show in Amsterdam's red light district, notoriously known for its prostitution, sex theatres, nude bars, and clubs. The main event of the night was a club called Banana Bar, where patrons are allowed to interact with completely nude performers. While at Banana Bar, things quickly got out of hand. Lizzo began inviting cast members to take turns touching the nude performers, catching dildos launched from the performers' vaginas, and eating bananas protruding from the performers' vaginas. Lizzo then turned her attention to Miss Davis and began pressuring Miss Davis to touch the breasts of one of the nude women performing at the club. Lizzo began leading a chant goading Miss Davis. Miss Davis said 3 times, loud enough for all to hear, "I'm good," expressing her desire not to touch the performer. The complaint fucking this is insane. The complaint continues. Plaintiffs were aghast. I love the English. Someone got a thesaurus out here. Good vocabulary. The plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for the bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her. You know why that is, guys? That's because Lizzo is so large, she has a gravitational pull so powerful, she believes other people's autonomy is her own.
It revolves
Especially in
around
the
her,
presence of many people whom she employed. A representative for Lizzo did not immediately respond to Variety's request for comment. I bet you they did not. Anyway, plaintiffs also allege Lizzo again invited them out without telling them that they would be attending a nude cabaret bar.
The
robbing
fact
them
that
of
they
the
didn't
choice
deny it
not
is
to
probably even
participate.
worse.
Yeah.
Oh, this is no
another
good.
particular instance accuses Quigley, the dance captain, who also doubled as a judge on Lizzo's Amazon reality show, Watch Out for the Big Girls, in 2021, of pushing her Christian beliefs onto dancers, according to the suit. After discovering that Davis was a virgin, Quigley routinely discussed the subject, brought it up in interviews, and even posted about it on social media, broadcasting
That's not a very
intensely
Christian
personal
thing to do.
detail about Miss Davis to the world. Quigley allegedly referred to Davis as a non-believer, according to the suit, and was quoted saying, "No job and no one will stop me from talking about the Lord." It goes on further. Quigley did not immediately return Variety's request for comment. The accusations against Lizzo also include calling attention to one dancer's weight gain. Weight gain.
That bitch ain't got no room to talk, literally.
No,
she got no
she doesn't have.
room.
There's no room. No room. After calling her out for not being committed to her role. In professional dance, a dancer's weight gain is often seen as the dancer getting lazy or worse off as a performer. Lizzo and Miss Scott's questions about Miss Davis's commitment to the tour were thinly veiled concerns about Miss Davis' weight gain, which Lizzo had previously called attention to after noticing it at the South by Southwest Music Festival. Fuck off, Lizzo, you fat cunt. Although, sorry, instantly
Yeah, right.
demonetised now. Shit. Although Lizzo, sorry guys, that just slipped out there.
That's fine.
And Miss Scott never explicit like those bananas just slipped out.
Mr.
Never
H does not speak for the
explicitly.
Mr. H channel.
I do not. Never explicitly stated it. These questions accompanied by Lizzo's statements made after the South by Southwest Music Festival gave Miss Davis the impression that she needed to explain her weight gain and disclose intimate personal details about her life
Jesus.
in order to keep her job.
Lord.
I mean, this just goes on and on and on. This is insane.
Lizzo's going down like the Titanic. What the fuck?
Is that because she's fat?
That too. That was the pun. But still, like, this is
Mate.
some pretty salacious claims. And I mean, they're made by some people that are pretty close to her. And I'm sure there's people that are going to back these claims up. You don't just bring a lawsuit like
Well,
this.
and if you know anything about Amsterdam and those clubs, they have video cameras in them. Like,
And they even said
that
this,
was
so
my
there's a
next
statement-
question. Yeah.
Statement shared with Variety, the dancer's attorney Ron Zambroni says the stunning nature of how Lizzo and her management team treated their performers seems to go against everything Lizzo stands for publicly, while privately she weight shames her dancers and demeans them in ways that are not only illegal but absolutely demoralizing.
Boom, boom.
I mean, it's true. It is. I mean, you know, behind closed doors.
Lizzo's the new Weinstein.
Oh, what's this you showed, Culture?
Banana.
What do we think? I mean, this is crazy.
Oh no, Lizzo, no banana.
I mean, this is just madness. I've spoken enough. I need to get your thoughts.
Yeah. Like, I mean, this is pretty damning. I mean, of course, it's not going to probably put her in prison or anything. It'll probably go away quietly with a bunch of checks being written out.
This ain't going away.
But I think it speaks to her character. Well, no, you're right. I mean, it's surprisingly, I think Lizzo is basically the victim mostly here in a sense that there's a slow news week.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's
like
she victimized other people, though, Tom.
She did, clearly. I'm not trying to say, okay, that was the joke. You didn't get the joke there. Like, she's the victim here, right?
I'm an idiot, so yeah. I understand.
No, it's my fault. Maybe I didn't make it obvious enough. But look, I mean, as somebody who does employ people and you know, you have a responsibility. You can't be acting this way. And the type of claims that are being made about, you know, especially the sexual thing in Amsterdam, like that's a bridge too far, right? Like, and if they allow her to get away with something like that compared to some of the shit that the Me Too guys didn't, that to me raises a bunch of red flags, because it's like, how is that any different or worse in some respects? Because she is literally treating her employees like they're just slaves, like they're
massively
like less than human.
Like, how on earth can this fat cow say someone else is getting fat? Love, your whole shtick is that you're obese. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Your whole shtick is that you're obese. You slim down, love, you got nothing. Your whole personality is that you're a fat piece of shit. That is genuinely it. That's her entire personality. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
Well, I'm curious what Nick of Echo Base would think of this.
Well, he's not here, unfortunately.
He's not.
No, he's not. But I thought that was that's hilarious.
He's going to be back in 5 minutes. I saw.
Culture, would you want to chime in on this, mate?
This is terrible. I mean, the chat has been going to town on it. My first thought is hilarious. She's like she basically is the female musical version of Weinstein to a certain extent. That's why I reacted.
Well, if she could carry a tune, I'd say the fat lady has sung, but
no, I mean this gives a lot of credence to where, you know, she put that historical flute There was a rumor going around about that. I have some serious questions about her mental condition, state, whatever words you want to say. I feel like she's going to head to that same place that Hugh Edwards went after he got accused of doing some bad things at the BBC. You know, I mean, that seems to be how you take a time out from these kinds of controversies. You claim, you know, that things are not going well upstairs and you take a vacation. But I have a feeling that this is going to hurt her long term. This one might not be easy to walk off, you know, and I feel like if you were really this openly
it was gonna happen
abusive,
at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, if you're this openly abusive, you're really setting yourself up for disaster. And I think she may have realized actual disaster. We'll see. Well, here's the weird thing. My first blush reaction is I have no reason not to believe the legal claims. No reason not to believe them.
No, I know. No. They're so outlandish. You couldn't make this stuff up.
I mean, normally it's like, okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, you know, innocent until, you know, proven otherwise. And I still want to do that. But believability, I believe these claims, and that's no bueno. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. I guess is worse for Lizzo than anything is that I have a difficult time not believing this. Like, and then her representative's not even denying it.
Yeah, no statements at all. They're just like
none.
We'll just wait. We'll just
yeah,
we'll just try and see if this can blow over.
I mean, usually when something like this comes out, that's the first thing they do is deny, right? Like these are, you know, false claims. They're just trying to get money or blah blah blah. You know, like whatever it is that they try to say to deflect. But yeah.
Hey, and remember, I mean, we've been listening to the mantra "believe all women." Well, there's a whole lot of women that they're gonna.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and that's the thing is this paints women just as bad of monsters as they've been painting men in the Me Too era. That's the thing that I've said before too, and that I've gotten some pushback on. But I'm like, you know what? You'd be surprised how many women are there's just as not as many, but a lot more than you'd think are just as bad as some men are. That's all I was gonna say without getting too in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just have to, you know, it's sort of. We'll see the verdict. I was trying to get a fat lady joke in there. God damn. The fat lady joke.
The fat lady joke in there.
Now a fat lady singing joke. What is it? How was the saying?
I already said it. I said if she could carry a tune, I'd say the fat lady sung her, but yeah.
I was gonna say like, well, you know, when the cows come home, that's when
it's not over. Yeah, it's not over till the fat lady sings. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I did the joke.
I know. All right. So forgive
him.
All
right, calm down, Tom.
All right, forgive him, man.
You get credit for all of our laughs. It's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, let's shuffle on to some super chats real quick, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. We are at 362 thumbs up, so smash that thumbs up button. Accent seller for 20 Norwegian kroner says, "Is MI8 Mission Impossible 8 in the can, or is it in risk from the strike?"
It's shot.
It's
shot, isn't it? They filmed it.
That's what that part of that lawsuit was 2 years ago or whatever with Tom Cruise and Paramount.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Shot. Zephyr has become a new member, so thank you so much, my dude. I do appreciate it. It's a way to support the channel. Become a member, helps out. Again, super chats are the way to do it. We've literally just been demonetized as an FYI, so just as a heads up. So when I say the show gets demonetized, we get demonetized. What?
It's still not finished with principle.
I thought they shot 7 and 8 at the same time.
They shot a lot of it, but it's not finished.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, they said.
Well, then there's some problem. Well, it won't.
There's about
risk from the strike, but it will still go ahead because they filmed enough.
I guarantee you. I mean, because I think half of it's done.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, I didn't know that, but okay.
Yeah. I wanted to check because I'd seen something like it was half done.
I thought they filmed them at the same time.
And so did I. I thought they followed them like.
That means they've already spent $800 million, and the second one's not even done.
Jesus.
No, I think that's what the projected budget is for the two films.
Wow. Well, anyway, Zephyr, become a member. Thank you. Accent seller for 50 Norwegian kroner says, "In Return of the Jedi, the Death Star actually orbited the forest moon of Lizzo, and the Ewoks were actually sexually transmitted."
Well, you guys forget that Endor is a moon. It had to orbit something.
Oh, I love that. That's gold.
Endor was a planet. Gold. The Endor moon was where the Ewoks were, right?
Yeah, it's the Forest Moon.
Sure.
No,
How
it's
do we
the
know
Forest Moon.
Endor is an Ewok for Lizzo?
Oh, we don't.
True.
Wow, Tom Brady.
Well, anyway, so let's shuffle on, ladies and gents, to our main topic of the day. And hopefully Nick will drop in here as we discuss this. But Disney has spent an eye-wateringly high amount only on pre-production for Star
I thought
Wars
it
The
wasn't
Acolyte.
done.
What do you mean wasn't done?
This wasn't happening, I was told.
Who told you that? Are you? This is a bit, isn't it? You bloody
No, well, there's some serious people out there that were trying to say. I'm not going to name names, but yeah, like there was people trying to claim that this show is never going to happen.
It's not happening.
Whoever said that, they were completely wrong because they built the sets. They're at Pinewood. They'd already started.
It's pretty much shot and done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, they spent $49.2 million on pre-production, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
$49.2 million on pre-production. That is insane. So it is $5.5 million more than Disney spent on pre-production for Rogue One. For a movie, for a film, $49.2 million. And I know someone who wants to talk about this will be Nick.
Yeah.
What is up, guys?
What do you think about this?
Yeah, we waited for you.
I just got in here. I was on the phone, so I didn't hear what
Star Wars The Acolyte. They spent $49 million on pre-production alone.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about this. Yeah,
and it's wrapped principle. They're working on post now.
Rumor has it this show's not really happening.
For goodness sake.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Nick knows what I'm talking about. We have sources.
Well, we don't have sources, but somebody has sources.
No, I have a source. It's called Blue Jay.
It's called
Blue Jay has told me that this is just an elaborate scheme by Kathleen Kennedy.
Who the hell is saying
to launder money?
Name the names. Who's saying this, Graham?
I'll let. I don't know if we want to say it publicly. Yeah.
All right, whatever. It is absolutely happening. Of course, it's happening.
Yeah, it's 100% happening. This show's coming out, whether people believe it or not. This show's going to be a disaster. Nate, I don't know if you've watched the interviews with the cast members.
Oh, they're awful. It's a safe space for black people in Star Wars.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Billy D. Williams didn't feel threatened.
Yeah, it's so cringe, and they don't really talk much about the show. They just talk about
Nick. Project Acolyte is all about the actual firing of Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't understand. There's a special unit inside right now.
Sleeper cell
that is waiting to take out Kathleen Kennedy. They're just waiting for the right moment.
So these people definitely didn't shoot anything together then, I guess.
No, there is not it's all in the moon landing in Kubrick, same thing.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is that Companies House in the UK, which legally everything's required to be filed through, that's on an elaborate ruse. So
it's part of the scheme.
What you're saying is someone at Disney has had to pay tax on $49.2 million through the UK.
If you followed KK Anon, you would know the truth, Nate.
Okay.
KK Anon knows all.
Well, just as an FYI, ladies and gents, this is a bit clearly whoever has been saying that doesn't know their arsehole from their elbows. That's nonsense. This show is absolutely happening, but what an insanely high amount of money that they've spent. $49.2 million.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And this goes back to more of what I was saying last week, on these studio budgets and how they're super inflated. And the thing is, this is for a Disney Plus show. A Disney Plus show
won't make any money.
Yeah.
It physically won't make money. And they spent 17% more on pre-production for The Last Jedi. Only 17% more they spent on pre-production for The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck.
They might as well have taken all that money, put it in a big, huge bonfire, and got all the employees together and had a cookout and just everybody sat around and just watched it burn up, because that's pretty
Well,
much the
This is
case here
insane.
with this.
I know we're acting like 49 million is a lot of money, but we just learned recently how much The Force Awakens actually cost.
Oh God, yeah.
Tell us that, Culture.
Oh, dude, it was dumb.
$535 million.
Oh, is that
Wow.
something recent that just came out?
Yeah, oh
Yep.
yeah, they revised it. This is what's happening. We've been talking about they're revising up all these budgets to the actual amounts because otherwise, they get exposed.
This is
And
what.
all-
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Culture. I'm sorry.
all these numbers are available at from Company's House, and that's the thing because they do almost all Star Wars in the UK. All the numbers are there because
They have to report it.
They have to report it, and they have to be
Because
able
they
to
have to
get
get a
their
tax
tax
rebate.
credits.
That's why they
So
do
when
it.
they're
Yeah.
talking about the budget in the media, what they're reporting is the production estimated budget. That's
Yes.
what Culture was talking about earlier too, with the whole thing with Mission Impossible.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, there's the actual cost, and what we've learned is movies like The Force Awakens,
Oh my God.
The Force Awakens cost 535 million. Almost all of the Marvel movies in the last couple years have cost well over 100 more million than they've
And they
reported.
tell you. Yeah.
In the end of the day, we even heard that even going as far back as the original Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe they said cost 100 million more than what was reported.
Yep.
The thing is with the Force Awakens, I mean, what'd you say it was, Culture? 500 and
530 change.
535 or something like that. Yeah.
I mean,
Too much
that
is what it
that
is.
is a crap ton of money, but box
That's
office
the only
wise,
one
it
that
brought
really
in
made
over
money. Yeah.
Yeah, it made over 2 billion. So I'm sure they probably actually made some money on that one. But all these other ones in the current state of Star Wars, I mean, throwing more money at it isn't going to fix the problem.
I can't wait to see the Rise of Skywalker's budget when they're done shooting it.
Oh yeah, because they're still shooting it right now. JJ's still doing reshoots. Oh, good
It's going to be the
God!
most expensive movie ever made.
Yeah,
Well,
but
no,
yeah,
that's in reality, they reshot the Rise of Skywalker how many times? Right? Because that was the story we heard.
like 4 or 5.
Yeah, because what was it? Kenner had bitched and said that we've got a whole warehouse full of toys we can't release because these characters aren't in the
Don't
movie.
exist. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's why they had to actually get that weird dildo monster in there. But with
With no arms,
no
on
arms.
it, and it fixes the ship.
Yeah, the
Like,
mechanic with
what?
no arms
Mechanic, yeah.
and the rock that's the navigator is the next wonderful adventure coming up. But regardless, this show is supposed to be 8 episodes long, right, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
It costs $250 million at the end of the day, supposedly. It's in
Which is average for them in their shows.
It's in post-production now.
Is it? I thought it wasn't getting made.
It's in
It's
post.
not. It's a big elaborate scheme, Nate. You don't understand. I have seen projections into Lucasfilm.
Yeah, I just can't fathom it. Of course.
And the thing is, you got to remember, it's 8 episodes. In the 8 episodes, like all other Star Wars Disney Plus shows, are all very inconsistent. You might have one that's 25 minutes long one week, and then one another week that's 45 minutes long.
Well, you know why that is, Nick. We're learning now is as we have basically we all kind of speculated, and we found out it's been confirmed now by a few of these guys that are making these shows. They really never know where they're going to begin and end. They re-edit the hell out of them until they end up into 6, 7 episodes or 8 episodes or whatever it is.
Yeah,
same as Marvel.
Exactly
the same. I mean, you should not be spending 250. Like Disney Plus is in debt, right? Disney Plus has never turned a profit, and you are,
it's made zero money for them. And I don't know.
Insane.
I don't know what they're
thinking.
thinking.
Be one of the worst loss leaders in history if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like 14 billion in debt, right? Like, and
it's like if you opened a car dealership and you literally just started giving away cars to all your customers. Is really kind of what it is.
Yeah, you're right. But not only that, like it's like giving.
You're like, why isn't anybody buying a car? It's like they already got one, dumb shit.
Well, no, well, yeah, but also
because you just gave them one.
Well, yeah, but that's just the way they've promoted this as well is so opposed to anyone wanting to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, like the amount of
It's
nonsense
gonna
that they've been
bomb so hard.
spewing is crazy.
Well, that's the problem. Is the free car they gave you is a piece of shit. You've got to
And-
constantly fix it, and all that
Well,
shit.
remember, they still haven't even released any trailers to do this. They showed that one at Star Wars Celebration.
All was cobbled
That
together.
still has not been released publicly.
We don't have anything. They're not even proud of this yet.
Well,
They are not proud of this.
Iger saw it though. He said what he has seen, it is
Bestest
going to
thing
be
ever.
huge.
They've
and
been
the best
holding
Star
trailers
Wars
back
show
for
ever.
everything lately, though, and I think I know the reason why is because they are backed up on special effects stuff. You guys got to think about it for a minute, and I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Go back 10, 15 years, and I was reminded of this when I watched The Incredible Hulk the other day. All of these movies, they used to have like 4 or 5 big effects sequences, and then the rest of the movie was all practical, non-effect sequence stuff. When we have movies like it was reported that The Flash and Captain Marvel and some of these other movies in recent years, every single shot has something done to it. When you're working that much on a movie, every frame of the movie, that takes a lot of time, people, and effort to get it done. And that's part of the reason these movies are coming out like shit.
The average Marvel film has 1,100 special effects shots.
And that's on the low end, I bet, because I know that for a fact, people go, why is it the original Jurassic Park in 1993 looks so much better than the latest Jurassic World film? And I told them flat out, the original Jurassic Park has less than 60 CGI shots in it. The latest one has over 1,200.
Yeah, some of that CGI stuff was also over the top of practical work as well, right? So
Exactly.
They actually built that T-Rex. Right? That T-Rex was actually
I don't know if they ever blended anything, but there's a lot more practical than people think. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Raptors too. The Raptors, they built actual Raptors.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff you see of the Raptors is not CGI.
In fact, the same technology that made the film happen is how they do the Raptors in like the appearances that they make in the theme parks, where they have physical Raptors. It's the same. It's exactly the same model.
So, point is, Lucasfilm budgets are out of control, absolutely out of control on their dog shit Disney Plus TV,
and it's making them no money. Like literally,
no money.
I like Iger is sitting there. I don't know how he can look at Lucasfilm and be like, "This was such a good idea to purchase.
What great investment! What great investment!
Know?
Kathleen Kennedy did such a good job." Which takes us nicely off to our next topic, which is Kathleen Kennedy doing such a good job. She fired someone who's currently working with Disney on promoting a film that he directed and gave his job to Donald Glover. What am I talking about? I'm of course talking about Donald Glover being handed the keys to the castle of the Lando series.
And he found out on Instagram.
And he found out on Instagram. There's a few things to break down here, right? So one, Justin Simeon he's working with Disney already. So this is like whatever you think of Justin Simeon, it doesn't really matter. You find out that you're fired from social media. That's a bad look on the company, right? Like that's dog shit. He's working with Disney right now on promoting Haunted Mansion. Now he's going to go around doing all these tours, if he's doing any, right? And promotional material, interviews and stuff. Every question is going to be about this now. So they've shot themselves in the foot already because that's bad PR for Disney. It's bad PR for the movie. It's just bad PR. And then secondly, why have you given the writing to Donald Glover, the star of the show? That works out so well all the time. What a great idea. I love it when the stars of shows get to have creative control. Always. Nothing ever goes wrong.
All she had to do was wait.
Ever goes wrong.
All she had to do was wait 3 or 4 weeks till the film officially flopped, and then cut this dude loose. But the day after the red carpet premiere, where Justin Simeon was the only person to talk in front of everybody, in front of the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, they go out and make that thing happen and get rid of the dude. I'm like, you guys suck. You suck so hard.
Isn't this kind of a typical thing of Disney, though? This is like their typical bitch move.
No, it's
thing happened with Gina.
It's KK
on social.
Yeah, we all found out.
She doesn't like confrontation, evidently, and that's the same thing. Like, I mean, I think the closest we've ever seen to her actually getting involved directly has been 3 instances I can think of: Tony Gilroy with Rogue One, Lord Miller on Solo, and now kind of on the what was the other one I was going to think of? what's his face? Lindelof. That's what I was trying to think of his name.
Oh yeah,
Lindelof.
yeah.
Like those are the only 3 times that ever feels like she actually got involved in the firing. Maybe Benioff and Weiss, we can give her a 3.4, I guess, out of that.
Hmm.
Because I wonder how Benioff and Weiss found out, but that doesn't mean that she necessarily called them. You know what I
No.
mean? Like, otherwise, seems like most of these people find out that they're not getting Star Wars shit through the media or through other means. And well, of course, Patty Jenkins. We don't know how that all went down yet, too. That's
And this is yet another director that has been
another. So we add another to the
Yeah.
fucking pyre.
Q. What's his name? What's his name? Another one. I don't remember that rapper's name. I'm not down with the kids.
But
you're not down with the.
Well, but I mean,
I fucking know, mate. I listen to like chilled out music. I know that there's a meme about some guy in a song that goes another one. That's all. Cue that.
Another one
meme.
bites the dust. Just
All
go back to Queen, okay?
Oh, we'll go back to
We'll be
Queen,
cool
who
with
cares,
that.
Whatever.
Yeah,
DJ Khaled. There you go.
Is that who it
Arnie.
was? Okay.
yeah.
Another
Look,
one.
Real
There you
quick. You guys are making a joke here, but literally, there's like cordwood stacks of humans that were supposed to direct things.
Dude, how much
Yeah.
did I take shit for saying that one time? I think it was on Friday Night Tights. I said she has fired more directors than she's hired. And like
Yeah,
Ryan
I've
and
got
few
a
others are
list
like,
of
how
it,
is that even
remember?
possible? It's like, do the math, dude. Look. And now it is
There's a lot
my
of them.
proof is in the pudding. Like, look at that list of unfinished projects and list of directors that have been fired now. She has literally fired more people than she's hired. That's what I meant.
Yes.
Tom,
Yeah,
that tweet you posted out that had the whole listings, you
That
need
has
to
more
you need to
added to it now.
update that.
I know.
Update
So
it and then
funny.
retweet it out.
I don't have it on this PC, and I'd have to go digging on my Twitter. But yeah, I'm gonna have to make a new version of that basically. Because we
So
also
funny.
learned of David Gordon Green in the meantime, who also supposedly had a Star Wars deal that fell
Yeah.
apart, and a couple other people. Yeah,
You get a Star Wars. You get a Star Wars. You get a Star Wars. Everyone gets Star Wars.
maybe they should call it the Star Wars curse. It seems like all these guys who get on these major, like, because look at what happened. Like David Gordon Green's like the perfect example, along with Benioff and Weiss, right?
Yeah.
They get these amazing things that happen to them. I mean, David Gordon Green made the biggest Halloween film ever. Like, it made more than the entire franchise had grossed to date in one movie. And then, you know, in the background, he gets a Star Wars deal and he shits the bed with Halloween. Benioff and Weiss, it was the same thing. They're riding high.
Shits the bed with the end of
riding
Game
high.
of Thrones.
Then all of a sudden they get Star Wars. They're like, well, we got to rush this so we can get to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And what happened? That's what got him fired.
Well, it did, but look, I mean, and somebody brings it up. I think it's Olaf in the chat. Mangold should be like have his head on a swivel right now, because dude, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna get this great Star Wars thing." No,
that's why he got Indy. I think is a makeup for Boba Fett.
Yeah, but they promised him another Star Wars, Tom,
and I think that was a makeup for making a.
Well, I mean, let's get back to
Mangold's
Lando
movie's not going to
briefly.
happen. And the Star Wars
to
Droid
Lando.
show is probably not happening either. Whoever's show running that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we've heard
was
nothing
announced in
about
2019.
that.
Like I said, let's get back to Lando briefly, though. So, do we think that this will make it better or worse having the star of the show be the writer?
Worse. Definitely. You don't ever give. He's not a writer. I mean, he might say he's a writer.
It's his brother that's the writer predominantly.
Well, and his brother's working with him.
Yeah, I know. But what have they made that's good?
Let me put it to you this way. I'm willing to give Childish Gambino more of a shot than what we got. Like, if we can get away from Pando Lando and take this in more of like a cool blaxploitation kind of direction, then I'd be fine with that. I know culture. I'm not expecting it to, but it can't get any fucking worse than it already is. The worst thing you could do now is have Lando literally with a you know what in his mouth, basically.
Well, what you need is a Foxy Brown take on this.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like if he gets it and he says, "Look, we got the coolest cat in the galaxy. We need to make this show basically like if Tarantino came in and decided he was going to do."
Well, that's who you hired for this. You hired Tarantino for this.
Well, you don't have to necessarily, as long as you know what's his face actually gets it that this is what this should be. Then I'll be fine.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at his writing credits. A lot of them are all of his videos. So, all right then. Did some 30 Rock.
Yeah, he's worked on 30 Rock, and I think he worked on Community as well. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a potential there, but I'm not gonna
Dude,
hold my breath.
those
not
writers' rooms are
Community.
huge.
He did
I thought it was
Atlanta.
Community.
Was
Okay, maybe
Atlanta.
that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, one of those shows, but like, yeah, he's worked on a few things.
Those. You know how those comedy writers' rooms are, man. They're huge.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be good. Quite frankly, I think
I'm not gonna hold my breath.
I think it's an ego, and I think that this spells disaster. Quite frankly,
God, yeah,
I
Justin Simmons.
agree. They'll
I don't
turn
think
it into like
you
a.
should never get.
They'll probably end up turning it into like a space version of Shaft or something.
That's what it needs to be, Nick.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah,
that's what we were saying.
Yeah, that's probably what they'll end up turning it into.
That's what we were saying. It should have been from first place. There's actually somebody already did a parody trailer of it where they basically made a Lando prequel thing, and it's basically that. It's a blaxploitation version of Lando. It's like, why can't we have this movie?
Yeah.
There's I just know just from our own community over on the main channel, Echo Base Network, that a lot of people were not interested in the Solo film without Harrison Ford, and a lot of people aren't interested in a Lando film without Billy D. Like I love these old characters, and I'd like to see them brought back in tasteful ways, but I don't like the recasting of these characters. Continue the story with Lando in, a high-end animation or something. I just wish they had somebody talented enough to just come up with new ideas and new characters to focus on, or pull stuff out of the EU, because there's tons to grab from there.
But I didn't think they had established stories to pull from. Remember, that's what Kathleen Kennedy said, or some shit like that. I mean, this is all nonsense. Like, this show's going to be garbage. They're going to spend another 250 million on this. It's going to be crap. So,
well, and Culture's probably right. I mean, instead of making Space Shaft, it's going to be Lando getting Shaft.
Yeah, probably.
And on that note, let's shuffle on to some super chats. So Magitech Mags for $5 says, branding Money Pit 101, the Disney effect on how to throw away money and ruin an IP.
Yeah.
It just goes hand in hand with what we've been saying, to be fair.
And they just keep doubling down.
Tripling down. Just all of it. Who cares at this point? Yeah, just God. Olaf Van S for €2 says, Mangold maybe next after the port.
That's what Culture was saying.
Yeah, he should be. He should be.
No way he's getting that movie.
Why is Calrissian sad though? His jokes don't land though.
Wow. I
love it.
Love it.
Guys, we've got great viewership right now. I'm just going to take this moment to say thank you so much. We've got 724 people in the chat. So I think this is one of the highest viewership count we've had on
That's crazy.
Our sort of podcast show right now. So got to say thank you so much for tuning in. We do this twice a week. Tuesday starts at 9 p.m. UK time. So we'll be going for a little over an hour now. And Thursday starts at 7 p.m. UK time. But thank you so much for joining in to watch your favorite live podcast. This show is becoming exactly what I wanted it to be. So I'm really, really proud of this. So smash that thumbs up button. Hopefully that means you guys will get notified in future.
And for those of you in the US, that's 3:00 Central Time on Tuesdays and 1:00 Central Time in the afternoon on Thursday.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, and I gotta ask Mr. H, since we lost this gentleman yesterday, how popular is Mr. Pee Wee Herman over there in the UK?
He's not at all, actually.
Not at all. Okay.
No.
So, that's why I figured we weren't talking about him today. I'm like, I wonder why.
Yeah, he's essentially a nobody here, I guess, which sounds awful to say, but it never really crossed over. The sense of humor didn't cross over.
I can see why.
Yeah. It's not our thing. So obviously, no, I have no disrespect.
Obviously,
answering a question whether he's popular here or not.
That's what I was thinking too, because you didn't even bring him up before the show. So
yeah. I did see it, and I was like, oh, okay, that guy passed. That's a shame, but that was literally
most kids our age grew up watching.
He
Playhouse
is
Saturday mornings.
Yeah. I understand that he sort of was in the zeitgeist, I guess. Like
Yeah.
because I'm here and I do, this sort of work and stuff, I'm aware, but it's on the peripheral of I'm just like on the peripheral of kind of understanding who he is and kind of what he was about, I guess.
Did you ever see any of his other work, like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, or he's in Blow?
No.
Really? Oh,
His
okay.
character in Blow
remember
was
that.
He's great in
funny.
Blow.
Yeah.
Don't remember that. Maybe I'll have a look and see. We've got one. So guys, if you want to, we get demonetized, support the show. Super chats are the way to do it. Get your question answered. And if you become a member, you get a free super chat. And this is one of our free super chats from Donovan Bradford, who's been a member for 26 months. Says, how does Lucasfilm get people to invest and give them money at this point? That is actually a very good question.
Yeah. I wish I knew
Because they're
the
being
answer.
sued as well. Just to go off the
Yeah.
back end of the Acolyte comment, they're being sued by the former producer of the Acolyte.
Yep, Miss McCarthy.
So,
And they're also being sued by another backpack company over the backpack used in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and both of them I think are kind of really much to do about nothing. Like, because the chick who's complaining about the Acolyte deal or whatever, she basically, what she did, it was under the impression she had a job. There must not have been any signed contract yet, but regardless, there was probably some kind of situation.
They had an agreement. They had an agreement in principle.
Yeah, in principle, and basically what she'll get out of it is whatever it cost her to move to the UK, because that was the whole thing she was griping about, is that she had to rent a place and all this other stuff. So they'll just end up cutting her a check at the end of the day, and it'll go away. Same thing for the backpack thing. They'll just cut them a deal to where, you could do a Star Wars line of backpacks.
Yeah, okay.
You watch. I mean, unless culture thinks otherwise, I bet you that's how it'll play out.
Well, they attributed their works to some other entity, allowing them to utilize them for promotional purposes. So I think there's a little bit more to that one than the other, but I think you're right about McCarthy's.
Are you talking about the backpack one?
Yeah.
What's the deal with the back? I don't know all about that one, but I thought it was just they ended up using it without crediting.
Yeah, they attributed they attributed the geologist backpack product that company put out there. And assigned it to someone else and allowed them to promote based on it, even though it wasn't their thing. So they not only have cause
I'm not aware of that. So
they not only have cause against Disney, but against the other manufacturer.
Oh, it was the Indiana Jones thing, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say it was Nilsson, but essentially it was the bag that was carried about by the stuffy, ugly, duck-faced chick from Andy and Harrison Ford, Helena and Indy.
Well, what's the promotion part? Because I didn't hear about that. I thought it was just
another company that makes bags utilized the thing, and it was attributed to them as their bag. It was not, and they were utilized it for promotional purposes, which it isn't theirs to begin with. So yeah, it's a very strange.
But is that Lucasfilm's fault, or is that the company that attributed it? Like, are they? Because that's the thing. Yeah.
Yes and yes. Both of them, again, the company that has a complaint has cause for both actions against both companies.
There you go. Okay. That explains
I'm not familiar with any of this stuff, so let's shuffle on to our next topic.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. So our next topic is rampant, raging hypocrisy and everyone just being out of touch in Hollywood.
That's typical.
Star
so another day that ends in Y.
She-Hulk. Tatiana Maslany calls out Bob Iger for being out of touch. Sorry, what? Sorry, what?
What I think is hilarious is all these people that are going after Daddy Bob.
I think he's completely out of touch.
It's hilarious.
THR. He's completely out of touch with the workers who make his shows happen. This is the line that makes me laugh every time I read it. Who make people watch these shows, who bring him viewers to him and make him money. Sorry, what?
Is she drunk?
How did your show make him money? What viewers?
It's completely out of touch with the workers who make his shows happen, who make the people watch his shows and bring viewers to him and him money. And his money is important.
This is the start of She-Hulk saying this, that he is completely out of touch. Bob Iger, FYI, like that everyone's out of touch in Hollywood.
Fuck yeah.
But popcorn and kettle black here. Like, let's be honest there. who are completely out of the show with the workers who make his shows happen, who make people watch these shows, who watch She-Hulk, unless they hate on it, who bring viewers to him and him money. No one earned any money from She-Hulk on a business level. It lost money.
Did she complete a thought in that sentence at all?
Oh, there's more.
Oh, okay.
Having worked on a Disney show, yes, you did. And boy, howdy, was it fucking terrible.
Well, it was bad.
I know where people fall through the cracks and where people are taken advantage of. And it's outrageous the amount of wealth that is not shared with the people who actually make the show. That's crew, cast, writers. Sorry? At what point do you think your show deserved money? At what point did you think that wealth is sort of deserving to be shared around to you? No one watched your shit show. Thoughts, guys? I hand it on over to you. You tell me what you think. There's no wealth with bloody She-Hulk. There's no wealth at all.
No,
No.
in fact, if anything, right now streaming is a bottomless pit for all of the entities that went chasing after Netflix. It's been borne out. They've had to tacitly admit it. You have at this point now probably over $15 billion in red ink for Disney Plus, between the initial setup costs, the maintenance, et cetera, the partnerships, all of the other things that go on along with that, in addition to the content spend. Her content spend did not bring positive $1 to Disney Plus. There's been no evidence to say that any of the shows have brought positive $1 to Disney. And again, that's where we sit. She's also out of touch, unfortunately, as attractive as she is, with how the world works and how people are paid for jobs and then they're done. These contract gigs, work for hire gigs are one and done. It's just the added benefit of working in with one of these guilds and in one of these industries that allow you for things like residuals, et cetera, because those don't exist in the real world. So again, her perspective is very singular and it's very insular and it's very self-focused. So it's very
Don't make me angry, Mr. Iger.
Oh boy.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Wow.
And that show, the viewership ratings are out there for anybody to look up, but the show actually was losing viewers as it was going on, not picking viewers up. So not only while the show was going on was it didn't have hardly nobody show up to watch it anyways, but the audience viewership was going down as the show was going on. So no clue what she's talking about. That made them no money. They lost money and their viewership went down on it. And season 2 of She-Hulk is probably never going to happen. So she probably knows this. So that's probably one of the reasons why she feels she can take a jab at Iger, because she probably knows that her time at Marvel is over and done with.
Well, and that's a shame because I'm going to tell you that was going to build me a guest house. She
makes for great content on YouTube.
Yeah.
But
I look at this way, and this is going to be the position from which you can always find me arguing. We've had an embarrassment of riches when it comes to television and media in general, and it's been happening for a very long time. You have an embarrassment of channels and options to tune into. And the reason that you feel like there's emptiness and it's all vapid garbage is because it is. Because you only have the efforts of people who are creative in this world that can be spread so far. And then you have a lot of other people who would like to think that they're creative, making a lot of things for companies that like to think they're creative, and so on and so on. So if we were to eliminate, let's say, 200 channels here in the United States on television, would you notice? Probably not. Would the choice of programming that you receive be infinitely better? Of course it would be. And that's the same problem we have with film. And so when they went about making all these streaming services, it created even more of a watering down of not only the content but of all the creativity that was out there in the world. And that's why we're stuck with remakes, repurposed adaptations, et cetera, and with all these ideological takes like waxed upon them, because they really don't have anything else. They don't.
Well, and she is not. Here's the problem with somebody when they get on TV, and this is even can happen in the YouTube sphere, right? Like there's a part of you that's like, oh my God, I'm reaching all these people. Like you just said, we have 700 people watching today. That's crazy. Can you imagine that many people in one place at one time? No, it's insane. But when it comes to being on television, everybody starts to recognize you. So I'm sure she got recognized as She-Hulk on the daily, right? It's just a given, right? But somebody like George Clooney back in the heyday of ER was getting recognized 10,000 times more daily than she was. She's not seeing that though. In her little tunnel vision world, she is the biggest star on Disney Plus right now, probably. And that's the funny business we see about all these actors and everybody else who's involved in the strike thing, and how fair weather everybody is. Because remember, Daddy Iger was coming back to save Disney, right? Like that's why we call him Daddy Iger, because of Campia and all that kind of stuff in his little slip there. Because we also know that that's the way a lot of them refer to him, and we're not kidding. That's the way a lot of people inside Hollywood referred to him. He was seen as this godfather of Hollywood, like that could do no wrong until he wasn't giving you their fair share of the money. But that's the thing is, most of these fair weather people, they're like, well, where's the money? They don't realize that the money's going away, right? They see, oh, our movie made $500 million. Where's my check? It's like, no, but the movie was expected to make $1 billion. So there's no money to give you. That's what, right? Especially when we just talked about earlier when we said The Force Awakens cost $535 million. You can almost guarantee each and every one of the Star Wars films cost at least $100, $200 million more dollars than they said. Same thing with all the Marvel films going all the way back to Guardians of the Galaxy. So when these actors are going, oh, they're making all this money, and I hate it that they're making me stand up for the studio here. It's like, no, they're not. That's the problem. And that's why these producers have been just praying to God that the superhero phase was going to die, because they are sick and tired of spending $200 million on these movies and praying that they make $1 billion, because that's what they have to do at the end of the day, right, Culture?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. And it's the same problem we've been talking about for eons. But the solution is spend $40 million, make a good film. Spend $20 million, make a good season of television. You know, it's not that hard. You can do it. It's been done before.
Well, just as a quick FYI, right? Just to throw some sort of insult to injury, She-Hulk was $25 million per episode and made $0 back.
Ooh.
$25 million per episode. How many episodes were there of She-Hulk?
8.
6. Was it 6 or 8?
I thought it was 8.
It might have been. It
seemed interminable to me. I would have said 200 because I had to watch them all, but I just, I'll look it up.
Well, that throws it into perspective, doesn't it? Right? 25 million an episode.
9.
There you go. Yeah. It just
so
seemed
$225 million they spent on
good
She-Hulk.
criminy, holy Moses.
And they've made nothing back at all. This person is saying that Bob Iger is out of touch. Shut up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and I talked about this last week. This is where the actors are out of touch. The studios are spending this kind of money and they're getting no return. You know, the actors, they're getting paid regardless whether the studio makes money or not. So it's like, come on, guys. The studio can't keep losing money. Otherwise, none of you guys are going to be working.
That's the beauty of this shit about these guys too, Nick, that they're griping. It's like, y'all got paid.
Well,
what are you bitching about?
They want their residuals, Tom. They want
residuals, Culture. That's the thing. And I know you're being facetious, but like, it's the whole point. It's like this whole streaming thing goes back, and this is where the problem lies. Because we know these shows cost just as much as these movies to make, right? You can't make a Marvel show or a Star Wars show for any less than it costs to make a movie, which is against the whole idea of making a fucking TV show.
Yeah.
Because a TV show is supposed to be cheaper, easier,
screen, not the silver
quicker.
Screen.
What's that?
It's the small screen, not the silver screen.
Exactly. Like, why are you spending the kind of money that you would spend on a huge summer blockbuster on one fucking TV show. You should be making 10 TV shows for that amount of money.
You would think, and you're right, Tom, but you would think having that kind of budget would elevate television, not drag down film.
It's the opposite, though. You're right, 100%. And I'm glad you brought that up, Culture, because that's just it. And that's why I think people have turned away from the cinemas. They're like, why the fuck would I go pay $10, $15, $20 to go see a movie that looks just like the shit I can see right now on Disney Plus? In fact, if I just wait 2 months, fucking Ant-Man will be on there anyway.
And if you have a family of 4 with kids and stuff, going to the movies is like going on vacation nowadays. Like, it's so expensive.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
So I thought that'd be a funny little topic. I've got some super chats to get to real quick. So, Accent Seller for 50 Norwegian credit says, not to get Mr. H channel into trouble, but the answer to his question is BlackRock and ESG credit line.
100%. 100% Accident Seller.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody's aware. I mean, and that's the thing. And to a certain extent, these companies are addicted to that easy finance access. That's all it is, because they know that they can just reach out, get the cheap money. Because let me tell you right now, money's so expensive, especially for these endeavors, these creative endeavors. Having somebody willingly underwrite you at a discounted rate and guarantee it, you're not getting that freeload boat anywhere else. It ain't happening. You know, and it really is corrupted, the creative industry.
But that line is going down now anyway. That credit line is coming to a close as well.
Yeah, well, they've
pulled out of the ESG stuff, BlackRock, haven't they? Is it Vanguard as well?
Well, they're renaming it. They're rebranding.
Oh, they're just renaming it.
They're rebranding ESG, but it was Vanguard.
Well,
Vanguard, you are correct, did try to pull entirely out of it for the most part.
Right.
And when it comes to Disney, BlackRock and Vanguard recently switched positions. I haven't looked this week, but Vanguard actually took over primary position as the largest institutional holder.
Did they? Oh,
yeah. BlackRock pulled out, but the worst of it is that Disney continues to go downward in their stock price. So you're looking at a what would be considered a blue chip stock, a part of the Dow, the top 30 companies in the world, and Disney's one of them, and their performance is just not meriting that kind of celebrity or stature. So
BlackRock and ESG guys, it's the savior. Noel White for $5 says, didn't some lady broke her cornhole filming She-Hulk? What?
I don't know. Is he making this shit up?
I seem to recall that actually rings a bell. I mean, not, it does. That story does.
Does
she
it?
Ruptured her anus or what? What the hell are you talking about?
Fucking hell. All right. Well, all right. I didn't know. Sorry.
What?
Adam Henson for £5 says, will you be checking out the last voyage of the Demeter? Yeah, I will actually.
It looks kind of badass.
It actually looks pretty decent. It's a story which has never really been explored as part of Dracula's mythos and lore. And yeah, I think it looks pretty decent. I mean, the thing about why I haven't covered it on the main channel, any trailers and stuff like that, is Universal are they're awful at copyright claims. They will just copyright claim it. So there's no point me doing it because I won't be able to actually show you my thoughts. Basically, there's no point. But it does look good. This looks like this looks like the entry point to the dark universe that should have been. A movie like this, very serious in tone. It's not trying to launch a cinematic universe per se, like whatever Rise of Dracula or whatever it was called. I can't even remember what it was called now. But basically, it looks all right. I'm pretty keen on it. It looks like a good horror film to me.
It does. I said that it was great because it's basically one chapter of a book that's been adapted for a whole entire film.
Isn't it interesting?
I know.
The Voyage of the Demeter. I mean, it is an untapped. When we talk about creative bankruptcy, this is not creative bankruptcy. No. Again, as you say, they've taken a chapter of a book and they've gone feature movie. Let's fucking do it.
Yep.
What is not said in that chapter? What can we show?
Yeah. What?
Well, there's a whole horror movie in and of itself, as we'll see, because the entire crew gets killed by Dracula.
It is
as far as
so
I know.
cool. I am so excited to see it. I talked about this on the bonus time today for the 6-minute daily because I do that on Tuesday and Thursday.
Right.
And I had somebody ask me about what I was looking forward to as far as horror films, and I pointed to this one first and foremost because I really do believe that you're going to see the unlimited creativity that somebody had to take a chapter of a book and turn it into a massive film. It's going to be cool.
Well, and isn't this also, I can't remember because it's been like 30 years since I've read the book, but I've seen, the Francis Ford Coppola version numerous times, which outside of the stuff that they added, as far as I remember, that's fairly close. Like, because even in that, is it the same as in the book? Because like on the Demeters, where basically he goes from being old man Dracula back to being young because he's ate his way back to being young
back to
again.
youth. Yeah, he
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
It'll be kind of cool to see Dracula go in reverse if they use that angle as well, like this old crotchety man at the beginning, and then in full power by the end.
That's exactly what happens. I mean, I can't wait for this film. So, like I said, I mean, I'm glad somebody brought that up because I think that's
yeah.
Something
Nick,
special.
you looking forward to the Voyage of the Demeter?
It looks interesting, and I like the fact that they're using all pretty much practical effects.
Yeah. It looks great
in the whole thing.
And it's out in theaters in 10 days. And
is it? Wow.
Yeah. Well, here in the States.
Right. Well, guys, we have to watch that.
I'll see it at a very early preview, so I will be seeing.
So will I. I'll be there whenever I can, basically.
Yeah. Bells on, baby.
Yeah.
I have that story for you, by the way, that somebody brought up.
Yeah.
True story.
I don't really want to get into this.
Wow.
My God, you weren't kidding. Is this Babylon B Day or something or what? Like, I'm trying to figure this shit out between the Lizzo story.
I don't want to delve into Jamelia.
I don't want to dive into this rabbit hole. That's for sure. Yeah.
That is not the kind of
wow. Interesting. I had not heard that story.
Anyway, Olaf Van S for €2 says 500 thumbs ups. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Olaf, for being an incredible mod here on this live podcast. So thank you so much. Accent Seller for 20 Norwegian kroner says Lizzie, or Lizo, I guess, has a bonus hole and blowhole. Brilliant. That's
I can't comment on that.
Lizo. So, guys, let's shuffle on to our next topic. And I think this is interesting. Like, I've done a video on this already, but I think it's important to cover here because this is indicative of the issue with Hollywood as a whole. And Hollywood is on strike, whether it be the writers, the actors. But this is the rot at the core of Hollywood in general. And it's this. So, Marvel's Secret Invasion director admits that he does not care about the series' poor fan reception. And I quote, "Is it our job to fulfill their expectations or to tell the story that we're telling?" I mean, you answer that question as a whole before we move on, guys, into the full quote. What do you think? Just that as a whole. What do you think?
I mean, if you listen to his entire quote, which I don't want to jump too far ahead here, but like it's not as controversial as this part of it on its own. But
you say that.
In a way, and again, I get where you're coming from, and this is what I'm going to say to that is basically, yes, it is kind of the job, especially when you're coming from because that's kind of what we do, right? Like a part of our job is, I mean, when you're starting from an IP that already exists, yes, your fans do have some sort of expectations. Yes,
there's already a bar there you need to meet.
Yes. Or at least get close to, right? Like, and the same thing with a trailer, the same thing with everything. Because I've seen so many people come at us with like, well, how could you judge something on a trailer? It's like, well, it's that trailer that's setting up the expectation, right? Like
the trailer is marketing material. It's literally released for everyone to judge it. I never understand why people are like, why, it's a trailer. Yeah, that's the purpose of a trailer. To be reviewed, to be marketed.
Like, I guess what I'm saying is, as a whole, I get what he's saying, and that part doesn't have as much weight. But on its own, yes, this statement, when you're working from something that's already pre-made, yes, you have a set of expectations on top of the trailer thing and everything else, like I just mentioned too. So yeah.
Oh, well, let me jump in there then and add some further context, I think, from my stance on this as to why I think it's such a ridiculous comment to make. because this is indicative of Hollywood as a whole. And again, let me just sort of jump in, is that one, Hollywood is in a business of providing entertainment. So they should actually be fulfilling expectations. I think that's actually important. If you just look at it from that perspective there anyway, the customer has to have some of their expectations appeased. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're not providing the service that the customer wants at the end of the day. Now, to get into his points very, very specifically about this, is it our job to fulfill their expectations or tell the story that we're telling? Well, with this one in particular, you raised everyone's expectation by actually calling it Secret Invasion, knowing full well it actually wasn't Secret Invasion. So you're building off the back of a storyline to get clicks. So you've raised people's expectations there, and it's a bait and switch because you're like, well, it's not actually Secret Invasion. We made this, and they're quoted as saying this. We made this simply because we wanted to see Nick Fury and Talos interact again because we liked them in Captain Marvel. That's the entire reason this thing was made. So they just built a story around that. That's what they wanted to do. So you've already raised the expectation by calling it something that it's not. And then you've gone, well, who cares? We're going to make the story we want to tell. That's not a good business model. That's awful. And it's this constant subversion of expectation that we get here, that we hear about all the time. I mean, think about like Halloween films, for instance, right? The first one, that was not a subversion of expectation. I think most people expected that film to be what it was, the most recent Halloween. And then the second one came out, and then the third one came out, and people are like, what the fuck is this? Subversion of expectation. You cannot constantly subvert people's expectation and expect them to stick around because they're going to go, this is not what I want. I'm not getting this. You can call it expectations or you can call it satisfaction, right? That they're interchangeable in this context. Is it our job to fulfill their, to satisfy them?
And
that's what they're saying.
And that's what I've been saying for a while, Nate. In fact, you've heard me describe films as not being satisfying. There's not a satisfying conclusion to this film. You do not leave the theater with a smile on your face or any other in particular emotion. Sometimes if you're leaving a film like Barbie, you feel dejected and a little attacked and all these other things, but you're not feeling a level of satisfaction. You're not better for seeing this piece of art. In fact, oftentimes you're worse off because you went and wasted the time and the money to do it. And so the ultimate answer to this situation, and just to add on to what you've said, and probably less eloquently, your job as a director, a writer, or anybody involved in this kind of production, even actors, if you're a gaffer, if you work on electrics, whatever it is that you're doing, your job at the end of the day is to do everything to the best of your ability so that your audience enjoys what you were showing them to the absolute nth degree. And so when you know a particular story forwards and backwards, you should be able to tell that story in a way that leads the audience to a satisfying feeling at the end of it all. And there's no other way to approach film or any piece of art. You want to pull out, you want to withdraw an emotion that can stay with your audience. You want them to have some sense of what they experience. And sometimes it's not necessarily satisfying, but it's something that reaches them deeply in a non-confrontational way. If you go into, let's say, Oppenheimer, the audience should completely feel the emotions that he's going through, struggling with the idea that he's created the most destructive force that humanity has ever created, that can be leveled and levied on all citizens around the globe. That weight, that sense of responsibility, your audience should walk away with that. But what they shouldn't walk away with is the idea that they are terrible human beings. They shouldn't walk away with any of those other things. And it doesn't matter if it's TV or film. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. So
No. Nick, you want to jump in on this, bud?
They all suck. I don't really have much to add. I mean, Tom and culture. Tom and culture. Pretty much. I agree with everything that they're saying about it.
Nick, I just want to tell you, I respect you so much for being the master of nuance that you are.
Yeah. I try.
Subtlety. Well, so Tom, just to sort of appease you a little bit there, bud, as you said the full quote, right? So it says, with all due respect, he explained, for me, I view all the storytelling work I do as a dialogue with an audience. When the show's finished and put up on the screen, that's my half of the dialogue, and the audience then starts their half of the response to it. I think that's valuable, but I don't know how to answer the question. This is because he didn't read any of the reviews and doesn't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about mixed reviews. If you had a unanimously good reviews, every movie would gross $10 billion trillion, right? Projects resonate with people at different times for different reasons. And Marvel has a very devoted, even rabid fan base who have expectations. And when their expectations aren't fulfilled, they move in the other direction. They give it a thumbs down. I don't know. Is it our job to fulfill their expectations or to tell the story that we're telling? So it's a tricky thing. I would love it if everybody loved it, but I also don't have that expectation myself. So I feel great about the response to it.
How could he feel great about that? Got a terrible response. How would anybody feel good about that? You idiot!
Juxtapose
Good
that
Lord.
juxtapose that thought process that we were just subjected to there in that paragraph with what Tom Cruise goes out and tries to deliver to his audience every single time. He wants everybody to love his movie. He wants everybody to be satisfied and entertained.
Yeah.
And make it just a fun movie, an enjoyable experience. What in Secret Invasion was enjoyable?
Well, but even to go, so Tom, you said you didn't think it was that bad in full context, right? I would say highlighting the fan base and having their expectations is almost worse in this kind of context because, again, you're acknowledging that you have that you have a built-in fan base that do have expectations, especially if you title something Secret Invasion. Why are you subverting those expectations? I mean, what do you think, Bud? Because I don't know where you think it's, where this sounds better, I guess, is my point in full context. Oh, Tom's dead, everyone.
Tom? You're muted.
Tom's dead, everyone.
Tom died.
Tom died.
Sorry, I was talking to Andre. What was the question?
Oh my God.
it was like a 2-minute long question.
I'm so sorry.
In full context, the paragraph we just read that you encourage us to get through the entire
for context. What makes this better?
Yeah.
Because when he acknowledges that the Marvel has a rabid fan base, he knows full well if you call something Secret Invasion, they're going to want to see the actual Secret Invasion. So what about this makes it better? Because I don't understand what makes this better.
I didn't say it made it better, but in full context, it makes sense. But it only makes sense if you're talking about something that's not kind of a pre-established IP. So like the part where he says, is it our job to fulfill their expectations or to tell the story we're telling? Well, that's kind of I don't know if I'd use the term straw man argument, but it's kind of like well, yeah, of course. At the end of the day, the story should always come first, no matter what it is. But there's an exception to the expectations when it's coming from, say, Marvel or Star Wars or something like that. That's a pre-established IP, basically. So
the story should reflect expectations that have already been established for it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point, right? The material that you're producing, I mean, it should simply the expectations are established anyway because it's an adaptation, right? Like, oh God.
Yeah, because Secret Invasion's already been told in the comics and all that. The story's out there already for fans of the comic books, and a lot of people just want a good retelling of that same story, and do it in a fun and entertaining way.
Well, I think, again, like I said, I think that is the crux of the issue at Hollywood in general, is that they're constantly setting around trying to tell their own stories, but not satisfying their audience base. I think that is the actual issue. They're just constantly trying to be like, no, we've got the stories we want to tell, the message primarily. So we're going to tell these stories, and who cares about other people? I don't care what they think. Well, you should, because everyone's checked out now of Hollywood. Ridiculous. Shuffling on to some super chats. Hello, computer for £2. For $2, sorry, says there's lots of butt hurt at Disney. Love it. That's the Jamelia Jamil thing.
Yeah,
love that. That's very good. And Manny Peregrine 81 for $4.99 says, any opinions on the horror movie Talk to Me? I think it made its money back, $10 million, and filmed by YouTubers Raka Raka. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I've not heard of it.
Yeah,
Not
that
gonna
film came
lie.
out. That
Did
film
not
came
know.
out this last weekend. I think Tom, if I'm not mistaken, I think it finished in 4th place.
Wow.
4th or 5th place in the box office. It did rather well.
That's good.
Yeah, and it's being highly spoken about. I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but it is on my slate to see. So
I guess
Nice,
gonna go
right.
see Saw X.
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
I don't give a shit about Saw.
I know, but don't wreck it for me. Don't wreck it for me.
All right.
I'm a
No
horror
worries.
guy.
Anyway, ladies and gents, let's shuffle on to this, which I think is funny. The Marvels takes another
no.
blow. And this is from the IMAX CEO, essentially detailing why the Marvels is not a threat to Dune and why Dune will not move. And that the Marvels is no competition for anything, basically. It's just a slam dunk on the Marvels. So obviously, with loads of rumors circulating that things are going to be moving. One of them was, of course, Dune Part 2. And this came in like an IMAX earnings call. So it's pretty much there. Like, it's really interesting. So IMAX earnings call. Wells Fargo analyst Omar Majias inquired to IMAX CEO Richard Gelfond. It says, what's the likelihood of this happening, Dune Part 2 moving? And if so, what other options are you considering for the replacement for the Dune slot? Now, this parrots a lot of what we've said before, by the way, and it's an interesting element from the sort of industry side of things. There's another great movie coming out around in time, which is The Marvels from Marvel. And we can't play it because we're committed to Dune. So Dune moves, that slot will just go over to the Marvels, and having a Marvel movie as a backup is not the worst position to be in the world. But in terms of Dune, my own opinion is that it's highly unlikely to move, and it's an educated opinion, meaning I've spent a lot of time on the facts. I love that part. I love that part. So he says further, Dune is already in the midst of a marketing campaign. There are trailers out, there's lots of materials out. They had a big presentation, a lot of conferences. And as a matter of fact, Denis Villeneuve presented at the IMAX CEO Forum. So it's kind of out of the gate. So if you put it back into the gate, you've got to duplicate those expenses at some time in the future of putting it out of the gate, which is what we've said before, why things get delayed, cost more money. In addition, Dune has a very long runtime in IMAX, up to 5 or 6 weeks. And this is the slam dunk on the Marvels, by the way, because coming out at the same time. Check this part out. And it was just fortuitous that there were no other conflicting projects. But if Warner Brothers Discovery were to move that to next year in some time, it's highly unlikely that Dune would have that amount of runtime. And wait, we're getting to it. And just to remind you, IMAX was about 20% of the growth of Dune Part 1. And I know there's lots of marketing plan on the Dune Part 2. If they move Dune Part 2, there's a carrying cost. I call it 10% or whatever it is. So how they're going to make up that cost, it's a really important element to their release pattern. And wait, we're getting there. So when I look at it from Warner Brothers Discovery point of view, from a dollars and cents numbers perspective, it just doesn't make any sense to me that they would move it. The only reason they would move it is they'd say the actor strike is going on and they want to get a premiere and put it on the Tonight Show or wherever they put the actors. But with no disrespect to Timothée Chalamet, are you going to be able to make up for the losing 6 weeks in IMAX release? Are you going to make up for the cost of capital and carrying it every year? Are you going to move it to an uncertain year when you have no idea what's going to be put against you, when they have virtually no competition in the marketplace? So obviously, that's the slam dunk on the Marvels. When you look at the other movies, I think that's one of the most compelling not to move. Basically, the Marvels is absolutely no competition for Dune Part 2. And it's not. This comes from the IMAX CEO. But the other interesting element of this, which I think is genuinely interesting, is the amount of money that they note here, right? So people often, the other thing here about the Marvels as a whole is that they are losing out on IMAX profit, which is a lot. IMAX was 20% of Dune Part 1. 20%. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money because it's a high dollar value, high value screens. Everyone wants IMAX. That's why Tom Cruise Mission Impossible being bumped out of IMAX is not a good thing, because Oppenheimer took its place. It's not good. So yeah, IMAX CEO committed to Dune Part 2 because they think that's where the money is. The Marvels, this is a massive black mark against the Marvels' potential profit.
That movie's going to make no profit. No profit.
Yeah, I know, being the optimal word there. But what do we think?
Yeah. I'm still curious to see. I mean, if I know there's been rumors and talks of Dune 2 moving to 2024.
It's not gonna.
Yeah, it's probably not at this point. But I mean, if it did, then the Marvels it would still flop, and even if it is an IMAX. So I can totally see them spinning it and saying, well, the movie didn't do well because it released the same time as Dune 2. We didn't get the IMAX screens. It's like giving them an excuse, because wasn't the Marvel supposed to drop in August or September originally? Wasn't it an earlier date originally, and then it got moved?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out like
10th.
next week or whatever it was.
Yeah. So they moved it to that week,
or a few weeks from now,
knowing that. Well, I don't know if they moved it because I know Dune 2 originally was supposed to come out at the end of October, and then they moved it to early November. So I'm not sure if they moved the Marvels before or after that. But if they moved it after Dune 2 moved their release date up to November 3rd, then at that point I see them making that move solely to put blame on Dune 2 being out at the same time and them not getting IMAX screenings and making excuses for the film. Because why would you move it to a date when a movie like Dune 2 is coming out that is going to have a huge audience going out to see it?
Well, they moved it like a week after the release. They moved it to a week after the release of the new Hunger Games film as well. So they're setting it up for excuses. We've said this before. Yeah. They are just setting it up for excuses. But I just think it's hilarious, those comments like, no, there's no competition. Nah. We're committed. Doom Part 2. Big money. What do we think, Culture?
Dune will be fine. It's going to make a big chunk of money. It's not.
Dune Part 2 is going to be great. Shut up, man. Come on.
I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I also recognize it's kind of a niche film because it truly is. It truly is hardcore sci-fi, and you don't have a whole lot of hardcore sci-fi out there. There's not. The only pull for women is going to be the lady guy there, Chalamet Ding Dong, or whatever the hell his name is. Anyway, that's definitely going to pull in the females, but aside from that, I mean, there's not a whole lot of eye candy here for the dudes, so they're going to go strictly because they want to see the hardcore sci-fi, and it really does fit into a niche. And if you didn't really appreciate or see the first film, what's to compel you to see the second film? And so, since we don't have viewership numbers for the day and date release of Dune 1, we don't really know how many people saw it and what it actually set up as. We don't really know. So my thoughts are that film will do fine. It'll perform well at the box office, and it might inspire them to, continue on with that franchise in some form or fashion. But regardless of whether or not this film is in competition with the Marvels is no prayer of performing. I don't care if it gets all the premium large format screens. It is one of those films that is the culmination of all of the bad that Marvel's ever offered, all at once, and it is the front door swinging wide open to A Force. And I think I've been on record saying that. I'm like, this will essentially complete the circle of the new Avengers, which will all be chicks, absent Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And then at that point, you truly have the MCU, which has been the desire from the moment that Disney fully took over from Paramount. And now we're stuck, with, another franchise that Disney has killed through their socio engineering program. And it's just gonna be there in the numbers, and it's going to perform very poorly. I don't know how you can say otherwise. None of these shows or characters are popular. That's it.
Yeah. Tom, you want to jump in on this, bud?
Yeah, I mean, culture said most of it already, but yeah, like at what point did anybody really think this was going to be a successful movie? Captain Marvel was a
Stinker.
well, yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to think of fortified mess, I guess is the best way to put it, because they did make
Oh
sure it hit
yeah.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah, I
not so
like
sure
that.
the Disney magic can make that happen again, especially after how poorly Miss Marvel played on Disney Plus. And I'm not talking about the quality of the show. I'm talking about, the actual viewership. And that's one of the reasons why they're showing it on television. But this move, I know Nick commented a little bit on that, is never really made sense to me, at least how it's happened, because they didn't move the Happy Meals. They didn't move some of the other promotional stuff. The show is still going to be dropping on ABC in the next 2 weeks here.
Yeah, it's a death
Yeah.
sentence.
They
did it
didn't
on
move
purpose.
everything else. They
Massive.
just moved the movie, right? It's really weird. So like by the time this movie comes out, it'll be so much in everybody's rearview mirror. They'll be like, "Oh, didn't that movie come out like 6 months ago?"
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody's going to care. And I've seen zero buzz, even from some of the Marvel drones and whatnot. They're kind of even just kind of meh on this one too. It
Yeah.
seems like, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure the Bree bots will be out in full force for it, but until then,
sure.
until then, I think you're right. Like, I mean, why they just didn't leave it to come out now and get buried is beyond me. I mean, like they ever thought Haunted Mansion was going to do anything, especially moving it from October, which made no sense at all, other than this way. I guess at least they can get it out on video and on Disney Plus before October now, I guess. So what?
Yes.
So you sacrifice the movie for that? I mean,
Super dumb. Super dumb. Wow. Thank you for your...
I mean, I honestly think you want to know the truth of why I think they moved it in the first place, beyond they needed to do some reshoots, which I think we heard about, is I think they knew that Barbie was going to be a bigger deal than a lot of people initially thought.
Yeah.
Because we were starting to read the tea leaves and see that thing was going to be massive. At least I did specifically. I'm sure they were probably like, we want to steer clear of that because that's their audience, right? That's the exact audience they want for this movie.
Well, and that's also who they're going to be marketing to, right? We've had this conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's funny you bring that up, Culture. Watch the next set of trailers that come out for the Marvels. Be very female pink, very girl powerly, girls having a good time, fucking centric. I would not be the least bit surprised.
Right. Let's be fair. That wasn't an original idea I had. That was a conversation that I had with WDW Pro like a day or so ago.
Oh, well, I didn't even know that. I didn't see the video yet, but hearing that, I'm even more kind of convinced that that's probably what's going to happen.
And I think that Disney also believes that's their win. At least that's the way some of the articles were looking at it, as well as to go after a hardcore feminist messaging. Except my point is, and still then and now, and if you go watch the video, you'll hear much more eloquence from it. But the don't go now, stay here. But the way that they're going to go about marketing it will be 100% feminist. They will be after it in every sense of the imagination. They're going to try to have their stars come out and talk about just how empowering it is. It will become quite nauseating. You'll know what you're in for if you didn't know already. But as I said then, and this is the most important part of it, they've already been doing that. We've had Captain Marvel be a feminist nightmare, and I just said a word that you're not really supposed to say often on YouTube, but she's always been rather misandrous. She's always been rather disrespectful of males. She's the character shows absolute disdain for her male counterparts, and if not indifference, and that's her makeup, unfortunately. Anyway.
Well, be fascinating to see how it all sort of comes together. But on that cheery note, ladies and gents, take us home real quick. Tom, what have you got going on, buddy? Tell everyone where to find you, what you got happening, what's going on.
We got Midnight's Edge After Dark coming up here in just about an hour, where we're going to talk about Mickey going into the public domain.
Yes.
And we'll see what else Culture and I can come up with between now and then. If he shows up. Oh, we got a random Mad Cheese.
I just saw him. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
You made me
Culture,
go full Owen Wilson. Thank you.
Culture, what have you got going on, bud?
Well, just the normal. I got 2 videos coming out tomorrow. I got 2 videos came out today. Both of them are worth your time. I really been working hard. And Grant's been editing his tail off. He's been doing a great job. So,
Good.
and then just my regular daily show, the 6-minute daily on the weekdays. So thanks.
Excellent. And Nick, what you got going on?
Same old. Chill stream Thursday night. Saturday night regular stream on the main channel over on Echo Base Network. Still haven't gotten content up on Nick's Talks Entertainment because I can't really do content right now. That's why I haven't put any videos out on EBN either. Yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for that.
Excellent. Well, ladies and gents.
Oh, and big shout out real quick. We hit our goal for my dog's surgery.
Yay.
Excellent.
Last week. So thank you to everybody that helped out.
Fantastic. Very, very happy to hear that. Excellent stuff. Well, ladies and gents, what we got going on the main normal channel, all the usual shenanigans, and we'll be back on Thursday for another live podcast, your favorite podcast at 7 p.m. UK time, whatever time that is for you guys in the States. But yeah, we'll be back again on Thursday to talk all things pop culture and maybe another lawsuit, I guess, for Lizzo. Who knows what's going to happen. But thank you so much for watching. From me and everyone else, thank you so much. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye guys.